If you have ambitious goals and you want to learn how to achieve them with the least amount of effort, you're in the right place. I don't care if you want to build $1 million business, get in shape, learn a new language, or improve your communication skills, whatever it is. If you want to get extraordinary results, there's one formula that you must follow. I call it the selected discipline method. I'll tell you about this selected discipline method in a second, but before I leak the secret formula, there's one thing you need to understand in order to get your dream outcome. The truth is, you don't actually need any more discipline than you already have to get extraordinary results. You just need to direct and manage it a little better. You see, social media is full of gurus telling you what you must do to improve your life, skills you must learn to be successful. But when you actually sit down to plan and take action, you get frustrated, probably because you thought you needed more discipline. So you try to push through the pain of intense discipline, only to quit after the first few days, or at most a week. There's this crazy idea that a successful person is a disciplined person who leads a disciplined life. That's a lie. Success is not a marathon of disciplined actions, rather it's a short race, a sprint fueled by discipline just long enough for habit to kick in and take over. When you discipline yourself, you're basically training yourself to act a certain way. Keep doing it long enough, and it turns into a routine, in other words, a habit. So when you see people who look like disciplined people, what you're really seeing is people who've trained a handful of habits into their lives. This makes them seem disciplined when actually they're not. No one is. And who would want to be anyway? The thought of training yourself to control every little behavior can seem both way too hard and kind of boring at the same time. Most people end up realizing this, but since they don't see another option, they either try even harder at something that feels impossible or just give up quietly. Here's what most people don't know. You don't need to be a disciplined person to be successful. In fact, you can become successful with less discipline than you think, for one simple reason. Success is about doing the right thing, not about doing everything right. The trick to success is to choose the right habit and bring just enough discipline to establish it. That's it. That's all the discipline you need. As this habit becomes part of your life, you'll start looking like a disciplined person, but you won't be one. This trick applies to your ambitious goals too, but with a twist. Most of you are already familiar with the 80-20 rule, and if you're not, it's state that a minority of causes, inputs, or effort usually lead to a majority of the results, outputs, or rewards. In other words, in the world of success, things aren't equal. A small amount of causes creates most of the results. Just the right input creates most of the output. This is where the selective discipline method comes in. Instead of trying to do everything your ambitious goal requires, you focus on the 20% of knowledge and actions that leads to 80% of your dream outcome. Then you just focus on building habits around that 20% and apply just enough discipline till the habit becomes natural. Extraordinary results are disproportionately created by fewer actions than most people realize. Think about it. If everyone has the same number of hours in a day, why do some people seem to get so much more done than others? How do they do more, achieve more, earn more, have more? If time is the currency of achievement, then why are some able to cash in their allotment for more chips than others? The answer is, they make getting to the heart of things the heart of their approach. They go small. When you want the absolute best chance to succeed at anything you want, your approach should always be the same. Go small. Going small is ignoring all the things you could do and doing what you should do. It's recognizing that not all things matter equally and finding the things that matter most. It's realizing that extraordinary results are directly determined by how narrow you can make your focus. You have limited time and energy, so when you try to do too many things, you end up overwhelmed. To achieve more, you need to focus on doing fewer things, not more. So how do you actually apply this principle? All you have to do is follow the simple steps. Step 1. Choose your ambitious goal. This can be starting a business, learning a new language fluently, maybe you want to become a master at sales, or you want to become the next Mr. Beast, or maybe you just want to improve your communication skills so you can flirt with anyone. Whatever it is, just choose one. This method applies to just about anything. Step 2. Apply the 80-20 rule. Do some research on the most important aspects of that goal that generate most of the results. For instance, for sales, this can be understanding human psychology because it enables you to influence behavior, build relationships, and close deals more effectively. If you want to become the next Mr. Beast, This can be mastering storytelling. That's one of the most important skills to become a 1% YouTuber. And for improving your communication skills, this can be active listening. Step 3. Build an habit based off that 20%. The key is not to make the habit complex, for instance. To master sales, you can form a habit of reading books on human psychology, maybe 1 page per day. Or maybe you read books on storytelling and practice 30 minutes per day to become a top 1% YouTuber. Or you make a habit of listening to people more during conversation and showing them you actually care with your response. And apply just enough discipline to make the habit stick and becomes natural. That's it. That's all it takes to accomplish your ambitious goals. The key is to start small. You have to start smaller than your ego wants to. Way smaller. Your ego screams for dramatic change, but your brain whispers for consistency. Small conscious efforts over time leads to extraordinary results. Let me know in the comments if you'll be trying this method and what method have worked for you in the past. I would love to hear your feedback. But wait a minute. Before you click off this video, there's one last info you need to know. If not, this whole video is useless. Discipline and habit. Honestly, most people never really want to talk about these, and who can blame them? I don't either. The images these words conjure in our heads are of something hard and unpleasant, but there's good news. The right discipline goes a long way, and habits are hard only in the beginning. Over time, the habit you're after becomes easier and easier to sustain. It's true. Habits require much less energy and effort to maintain than to begin. Put up with the discipline long enough to turn it into a habit, and the journey feels different. Lock in one habit so it becomes part of your life, and you can effectively ride the routine with less wear and tear on yourself. The hard stuff becomes habit, and habit makes the hard stuff easy. So how long do you have to maintain discipline? Psychology research shows that it takes 66 days for a behavior to become automatic. In other words, a habit. This study tracked participants as they adopted new behaviors like drinking water daily, exercising, and found that the time to form a habit ranged from 18 to 254 days, depending on the person and the complexity of the behavior. Simpler habits took less time, while more complex habits took longer. But 66 days represented a sweet spot for any habit to become automatic. In other words, you need to be disciplined for at least 66 days for any habit to become natural. Self-help circles tend to preach that it takes 21 days to make a change, but modern science doesn't back that up. It takes time to develop the right habit, so don't give up too soon. I hope this was helpful. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.